Welcome guys to another video. Today we're gonna talk about the current situation in Ivory Coast. Sometimes people call it Côte d'Ivoire, the French name. Ivory Coast. There was reportedly there was a coup, but and I saw that from this website. But I'm not sure if there was any updates on this. But then on different blog sites, I've seen people saying that there isn't a coup. Um, but on on this one site that I saw it on, they were saying that there was definitely some unrest in the city um, of Ivory Coast. There was unrest. People were uh, people were shown celebrating or at least protesting in the city in a large amount of numbers. So, but and then they said that the president was reported missing or something like that. They couldn't really identify the conditions of the president or get a word from the president. So unless he was in hiding, unless he was captured, who knows what happened. What I've been learning about Ivory Coast is that the president, Alassane Ouattara, he seems like a guy that just wants to sit in power. He seems like one of those African presidents that just want to sit in the position of power. Since he came in office, I think probably in 2010. I could be wrong, but check me on that. 2010. Uh, he's been in power, and I don't think he wants to have an election or get replaced. I even saw it. I even saw a post that said that Alassane Ouattara stated that the Constitution does not apply to him. Now remember, this was a guy that took. This was a guy that was that was heavily backed by France and the United Nations in his transition into power. He was heavily supported by those forces. Okay, the former president that he replaced, um, was also another guy that did not want to get out of power. Okay, he was also another guy that did not want to get out of power, and maybe his actions really have not um, seemed to be supportive of the African people. His actions definitely has not been in line with, say, the um, the current revolution that's currently happening in Africa. He actually seems to be the guy that is the number one guy supporting the opposition. There's even news and information coming from um, the AES, the Alliance States of Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali, stating that that their 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 enemies are stationed in Ivory Coast, planning and uh, deploying their missions from there. So that's very dangerous to the current um, revolution that's going on in West Africa. Ivory Coast can be a very crucial point. It could be a very crucial stakeholder. You know, if Ivory Coast um, would support, say, the revolution that's going on in Africa right now, in West Africa particularly, it would boost that revolution. That revolution would I think would definitely not be stoppable if a country like Ivory Coast backs them. So Ivory Coast is definitely a crucial uh you know location um within that region. in terms of their wealth and their resources that they have, is a very crucial land to take possession of, and we as the African people, we can't let a position like that of Ivory Coast to be the catalyst that ruins, say, the opportunity that this revolution has to change Africa for the better. Okay, so what does that mean? If you in media, whatever, even reposting videos, liking videos, reposting videos, subscribe to this channel, by the way. Stuff like that, man, helps a lot. Get the news out to like-minded people like yourself. Okay, if you like it, I'm sure, if you like this video, I'm sure the algorithm will figure out people like yourself, like-minded, are also gonna like this video. So it will get pushed to them. You can also share it, right? And I'm not just talking about this video, I'm talking about just particularly this information. These kind of information that is out there. Okay. So we know that the current situation that's happening in Ivory Coast wasn't really reported, and I mean that could be of many reasons, but not even Al Jazeera and other news channels that are not Western didn't really report at all on what some people are calling a coup in Ivory Coast. So is there a coup or not? Okay, so I came across a very interesting point of view on that. We also, just as the saying goes, the revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be televised. If you sit down and think about what that really means, is the superpower, okay, is not gonna televise a revolt or resistance to their interests abroad. They're not gonna televise that. They're not gonna show the American people or the French citizens that these African nations are actually resisting them, and they're rejecting them. They don't want them in their countries. They really don't. The people don't want them in their countries. And I'm talking about their military bases particularly, not the people. Okay, there are many tourist people who go and visit Africa, and they're very welcome. The people are, treat them right. They're safe, But in terms of military bases, your government coming into Africa and establishing military bases nearby key infrastructure or key locations, the African people are awake, alert, and basically learned from past experience, from past actions of the West killing, African heads of states like Gaddafi, Kwame Nkrumah, Patrice Lumumba, many more names, even particularly in West Africa. Okay, Thomas Sankara of Burkina Faso, just as how Ibrahim Traore, is doing. Okay, is very the same thing he was doing. If you go back and read about Thomas Sankara, he did great work and achieved a lot in a short amount of time. God gave him life to serve his people, and those kind of people like us, like-minded people like us, who has the same thinking of Thomas Sankara, Patrice Lumumba, and even Muammar Gaddafi, you're seen very dangerous. You're seen very dangerous, which our mindset really is just fairness, love, equality for all. Okay, we want to see our people treated right, our people dealt with a fair hand, and get an actual portion of what their their uh their value of the possession of, are worth. You know, that's what we're calling for. We're calling for independence. You know, our own ways. You know, to our own ways to express ourselves. That's it. Very basic things, and we understand nobody's gonna give that to us. So definitely, the African people have to be ready to fight for that. You have to be ready to fight for your freedom. Okay, that's a given. Nobody's gonna set you free. You're gonna have to fight for your freedom. That should be a known fact already in everybody's head. That is not an option. You're gonna have to fight for your freedom. Nobody's gonna give it to you. Okay. So, but all in all, if we just close on the whole situation in Ivory Coast, right? I think if they have a coup right now, it will definitely be the wrong move because there's supposedly talks of election coming up soon in Ivory Coast. So, like I said, I'm not sure the information out there. There's information out there about that there is not a coup, and there's information out there that there's definitely unrest and the president has not be has not been located. Okay, so with those two information out there, I just wanna play it safe and wait for more details and more information before calling this a coup in Ivory Coast. But I would like to even add that they actually have an election coming up soon, and it wouldn't really make sense for a coup. Okay, what if the people are so unhappy with Alassane Ouattara, their current president? Why don't they just group and vote him out of power? That would be the easiest transition and safest, for your current situation in Ivory Coast. I can understand if he was in his 2 years term, or maybe, or maybe he after the election, or maybe he lost the election, and he is forcing himself to stay in power. Those are the time when, if I was a citizen in Ivory Coast, I would be advocating for maybe a coup, or maybe be even happy that a coup happened. Okay, but your current situation, I don't think calling for a coup in Ivory Coast is the best move. Okay, and hopefully there's not a coup. And hopefully the people, get to do the right thing here and vote President Ouattara out through the ballot box. Let me know what you guys are thinking. Let me know. Maybe you guys came across some other information. Please share it in the comments below. Let's interact with each other with whatever we learn about this topic moving forward. Maybe I'll try to follow up and do a part two as more information come out.